Welcome to AFL Pub Talk, brought to you by the Exchange Hotel here in Gawler. We're down here tonight as we do every month. It's a fantastic spot. Ando's out tonight, and joining me is the superstar from the Central District Footy Club, Troy Menzel. Troy, thanks for joining us, mate.
Cheers, Nighty. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and mate, it's big news for some fans through the week. So we're going to get you into the media game as well. So just going to test you out tonight and see how you go.
Yeah, a bit of a trial run for future experiences, but looking forward to it.
No, it's going to be good, mate. So on the weekend, AFL footy on the weekend, both big, lots of media around the two South Australian teams, with Crows losing to Carlton. Probably not fantastic for the Crows with where they're at.
No, it was probably a bit of a surprise, but not so much as a surprise seeing how Carlton have been going lately under David Teague. I think not playing Sauce, Gibber and Eddie against their former club probably hurt them a little bit in the end. But yeah, Carlton showed they're playing some really strong footy, and now Adelaide are just holding on to the 8th spot. So it makes it very interesting coming into the end of the year.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot of talk around, and obviously you've been in the system at the Crows and that, and the media scrutiny on at South Australian-based club, being that there's only two, it's the blowtorch is well and truly on them at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It is well and truly on them. I think from last year, not living up to the grand final appearance in 2017 hurts as well. But in saying that, the season isn't over. They are sitting just in final spot, and they are a team where we've seen this year where they do get going and can play really good footy. They can beat anyone on their day. So their season's not dead and buried, but yeah, it's definitely at the crossroads at the moment.
No, they are quality. They just got to find that, and I think get Sauce, get Gibbs, get Betts back in. I think they need that more than anything, I think, at the moment.
They do. They're lacking a bit of experience, and see Eddie in the sample on the weekend almost drags the sample Crows over the line against the Bay. So I think he'll be a handy inclusion this week.
No, he's got to come back in. But mate, as well, across the border or out to the port, and Port Adelaide 1 point win in what looked like a fantastic game against GWS, who are going to be a top 3 contender and really push for the GF. So they've battled hard, but just unable to get the win on the home turf.
Yeah, they were a bit stiff. I didn't catch much of that game. We were the Central District Scarlet Ball that night, so we weren't paying too much attention. But yeah, it was a very tough team, GWS. They've shown they can play some really good footy this year, and it's probably one of those ones that if it went their way, they would be looking to play some good finals footy this year. But unfortunately, it went down by the point. Yeah,
and the run continues for Port, so they've got to start to string a few wins together. Koshy coming out during the week and saying about Hinkley and his contract, and said that at the moment he's well and truly safe. So they must still back Ken in massively.
Yeah, absolutely. They clearly do from the top up, and you even hear that some of the players coming out this week and backing him as well, backing in the way he's coaching it and the way he wants to move things forward. So I guess that shows as a club that they believe in what they're doing and in their system. They're just not putting the wins on the board.
Yeah, and around the States as well, Essendon just holding on against Gold Coast Suns. So they got their win, but they're still copying a lot in the media.
It's a surprising one because they have been travelling quite well, the Bombers. They've been looking one of the better teams in the comp, and then to go up there and only just get the win over a team that's, well, it's the worst team in the comp, really. It's probably a little bit of a surprise, but they will take the win for sure.
Yeah, they've got it done. Tip and Woody, I saw there now, classing him, name your price and just sign him on whatever he wants. So to come in, because he come in when the whole drug saga
mid-season
went on, and Kyle Presbury tells us that Essendon told him it was out of him or Tip and Woody.
They made the right call there.
I think they might have made the right decision getting Tipper, but as an impact player, he's been phenomenal, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's been absolutely fantastic. I know when he went to the club, there was a lot of question marks over his fitness and his tank, but it's obviously something he's worked on a lot over the last couple of years, and he's a bit of a cult hero there, isn't he? Yeah. A massive cult figure. But
he's got his own song now.
Yes,
as well.
He does. I have seen that. It's actually not a bad song. So no, he's going very well, Tipper, and he's kicking a lot of good goals for him.
He's been good, and I tell you what, the powerhouse that is up in the other team up in Queensland, Brisbane, 5 wins last year, 5 wins the year before. They've already locked in finals, and they're, third on the ladder?
Yeah,
on the ladder.
Yeah. Some will say I'm jumping on the bandwagon here, Nida, but they were my big improver at the start of the year, and they've surprised me a lot. I think they're 6 on the trot now. I reckon it is.
Flying, yeah.
And they're just going from strength to strength. You think, oh, they'll get done this week, but they're just flying. You know, I think saw today a stat, they have 24 players under 23 years of age, and I think about 8 or 10 of them have almost played 50 games for them.
Yeah.
So the recruiting up there and their ability to hold on to players, which was their downfall in the past, has been fantastic.
And I think what they've done well is getting a player of Hodges' calibre. You know, he's probably done as much for that club as anyone up there, I would think.
Not just on field, off field. What he's brought from such a successful team at Hawthorn to Brisbane, it definitely shows.
And they're gonna have a red hot crack come September, mate, as well. And Richmond, Premiership 17. Obviously, you're at the club then as well. They were dynamite through that final series and leading into it. They now play 6 on the trot. I think they play the last 6 at the MCG now, or 7 in a row. Collingwood, who played in last year's GF, they've made them look silly on the weekend.
Definitely.
And they're flying with all games at the G now, aren't they?
It's pretty scary. It's very similar to their 2017 year, the way they're playing at the moment. And it's a great time to be peaking, to play your best footy. Every club wants to be peaking towards the end of the year, coming into finals. And Richmond are probably the informed team apart from Brisbane at the moment in the comp. So they're definitely timing their run really well, and if they can sustain that, dream run home with all the games of the G, that's where they're going to place their finals footy. So it's very scary at the moment for them. Yeah, they're flying.
Know a lot about ACLs in the Menzel family. Alex Rance, is he going to get back to have a crack?
Knowing any AFL player, they'll be pushing to get back. I think it'll be at the club's discretion. If it is possible for him to get there, they're not going to put him in if it's too much of a risk and if he's not at 100%, because in finals footy you can't afford to be doing that. But knowing him, he'll be doing everything he possibly can to get back, for sure.
Yeah, he looks like an animal. I've been watching him train on the track, and he looks like he's progressing well, but you never know with him, mate. And lastly, Melbourne, after finishing top 4 last year, Simon Goodwin, Crows legend, but he's under the pump, and the D's are under the pump, aren't they?
It's probably the one coaching question that's gone a bit under the radar with Goody. Pikey under pressure, you've seen with Brad Scott, with Brendan Bolton, both getting sacked, and then Melbourne are sitting second bottom, and it hasn't
Richardson
been much.
As well.
Yeah, it hasn't been much made of that. So I think as well, they still have a very young list, but they got a very talented list, and you take out that 4th place finish from last year, and they're still bottom of the table for the last 5-6 years. So you can look at it as, were they progressing, or was it an outlier in the scheme of things? But it's been a very down year for Melbourne. Jesse
Hogan, is he a bigger loss? They probably not underestimate how big a loss he would be for them.
Yeah, I reckon he's been huge in that. Tom McDonald stepped up very well, but you see he goes out injured and they battle to kick goals. So definitely he's been a massive loss.
No, fantastic. Troy, mate, stick around. We're going to talk a lot more here at Before the Bounce and SANFL as well. So thank you to the Exchange Hotel for hosting us tonight and being a major part of Before the Bounce. So stick around, there's more to come. Welcome to the stock report for this week, brought to you by Taylor Collison's, David Pittman and the team down there. One of the best stockbrokers in Adelaide, and if not Australia as well. So make sure you get down and see the team. Hopefully they slip a few tips through to us shortly as well. That will be really nice. But Troy, to tell you how this works, mate, it's my favourite segment. But we're going to have some topics, and basically we'll just have a chat and work out if you're the coach or you're a part of that club or whatnot, whether you're going to buy, sell or hold. Absolutely. Mate. So we'll get straight into the first one. Paddy Ryder. He's been a star for a long period of time, and he's probably finding himself on the outer at Port at the moment.
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's one of those ruckmen who's very hard to come by. Really athletic, can go forward, kick goals. Very handy ruckman to have. But you see the move Scotty Lycett coming over from West Coast, and he's taken that number 1 role, hasn't he? He's really come in and he's made a massive impact, and he's doing it around the ground as well. He's over 20 touches a game. So it's a tough one there. Then you got young Billy Frampton who pinch hits in the ruck if he comes in, and he's kicking a lot of goals in the SANFL as well. So Paddy, I think you wait till the end of the year on him, and you sort of see if any clubs are looking. He might be a bit of trade bait. But I think that number one ruck mantle has definitely gone to Scotty Lycett.
Well, the thing that I find fascinating with ruckman, and you even talk about from local level, they want to be. They don't want to come off. They don't want to break. They want to be the number one man. So, who do you go to? You got Paddy Ryder, Scotty Lycett, both two quality ruckmen.
Yeah.
Well, you just got to give one a crack, don't you?
But I think a lot of teams in that scenario as well, like you look at Adelaide at the moment, they'll go with Riley O'Brien because he's the younger one. He's got more years ahead of him, which probably works against Paddy Ryder, but he could definitely be a number one ruckman in another team.
Yeah, so holding on Paddy?
I'd hold.
I'm thinking I'm going to go that, if I'm another club, I'm holding, but if I'm another club, I'm certainly putting the feelers out to go and get him. I know, North Melbourne, my boys were one that could have loved Goldie to have some support, and because Goldie's getting on as well. I think Ryder can give Brown some chop out as a forward as well because he is that classy. So I'd like to see him maybe push forward. Just tell him that you're going to ruck 30%, but we actually want you to play 70% as a forward. Even I know they don't like that. But if you want to play AFL footy...
You're chasing pretty hard for him as a North supporter.
As a North supporter, North, give him an offer. I want him. But there's plenty of teams around Gold Coast, obviously, that Gold Coast would be silly not to try and have a crack.
For sure.
There's some other clubs as well there. So I'm holding, but if I'm North Melbourne, I'm buying, if I put that hat on. Brad Hill's an interesting one. He's had a successful career at Hawks, been massive over there, gone to Freo to play with his brother, been over there for a couple of years, probably doesn't like it as much as he would have liked, so he wants to go back to Victoria.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. He's such a dangerous player, Brad Hill. Those running wingmen, they're so handy to have. They're hard to come by. Like you have your inside mids that you have 10 of them on your list to pick from. You're running wingers, and he's not just a running wing. He's fit, he's quick, he's classy, he kicks goals. There's been times this year where he's just absolutely tore the game apart. So he's definitely a good commodity to have. Yeah,
and wanting to go back to Victoria, North, we got the money, so that's another one that North need to go after. I'll be more than... Well, we'll put out a big ridiculous offer and he'll pick some other club again. That's usually what happens to us. But no, he's a star. So I think every club in Melbourne will be wanting to go after him, and so they should. Interesting though do you reckon with him now going over, he's gone and played with Stephen, maybe Stephen make the move back to Victoria?
I think that's a tougher one because Stephen's been there his whole career. So I think if he was going to move, he would have moved with Brad earlier to go over to Brad. Whereas Brad came over to him. So I think Stephen's quite set where he is.
So on Brad Hill, you're buying?
I'm buying. I'm throwing a kitchen sink at him.
I'm with you there. And another big one is Michael Voss. And to your ex-boys, Carlton. Vossi probably didn't have the greatest run at Brisbane. But there's also a lot of talk. I'm a big believer. I know Bucks has made it look good now, but I'm a big believer that you've probably got to go to another club. Don't go back to where you're regarded as a player because I reckon it ruins your reputation a little bit.
I agree.
But at Carlton, do you reckon he could be the right fit?
I think he could definitely bring an element there. For me, I know Carlton came out and they said they want an experienced coach. They want someone who does have senior coaching experience. But the way they're going at the moment under David Teague, it's hard not to look at. You have to look at him. You have to give him a look at him because he's won 5 of his first 7 coaching.
Something.
I think Bolton won 5 in his first 50 or something like that. So and with a very similar list, with the same list. So it is very hard to go by.
Teague, I've met him a couple of times, usually at the Adelaide Test after a skinful, but he's obviously on the waters at that stage. But he just seems like a man, an absolute legend of a bloke. So the players really want to get up for him.
He's like a coach I've never come across. I obviously had him at Adelaide for a couple of years. But the way he interacts with the players and people is like no other coach I've ever come across. And no doubt that is why all the boys at Carlton absolutely love him and would be barracking for him. He
was meant to come and watch my under-11s game back in the day, but we won't get too much into that. I bailed
I'm sure he was busy.
I bailed him up for the Adelaide Test. Do you remember? But no, it was very funny. Mate, the other one I want to talk to you, big in the news at the moment, Timmy Kelly. He's come out today, first time probably in 2 years.
Yep.
The only other interview I heard of him is that he got his missus for Mother's Day some laser removal scans, but which was interesting to put on TV. But he said he wants to stay at Geelong.
Yeah, it's. I think Geelong supporters will be pretty happy hearing that, but. Again, like you don't know what to take of that. He might just be coming out to say that to sort of put it to bed till the end of the year. He might well and truly be happy there. I mean, he was only there for a year. Another year down the track, could have settled in a lot better. I still think there will be interest at the end of the year from WA.
Yeah.
But for Geelong fans, you'd be over the moon hearing that, wouldn't you?
So Geelong, if you're then you'd buy him.
You're buying
giving him what he wants.
He's probably leading the Brownlow at the moment, so you're buying him.
And Vossi, selling
Vossi, I'm buying on Teague. I'm buying in on Teague.
I'm a big Teague fan, so I'll follow you there. And I didn't want Voss to come to North, so I don't want him to go to Carlton. So no, he's love it, Troy. Very good first time, mate. Plenty more to that. Thank you as well to David Pittman and the team at Taylor Collison's as well for bringing us the stock report each and every week. There's lots more to come before the bounce, so make sure you jump onto our Facebook page, jump onto the YouTube channel, and you're able to watch all the videos past and anything new coming up as well, so jump on there. Welcome back to Before the Bounce. We've got on the couch, Ando's not here, so I'm taking over his segment tonight, getting the call up off the bench. With me tonight as well is my co-host for night in Troy Menzel. Mate, how have you found it so far tonight, mate?
Nah, it's been good, mate. We've got the trivia going on in the background, which is a bit of buzz, but it's been really good. Enjoyed it. Absolute banger of a song on now as well. But I've got to thank Rachel Laurie from Ray White, North Adelaide, for sponsoring us as well. Big supporter of the show. Sponsors over 13 clubs around Adelaide and South Australia as well, from Port Adelaide Footy Club, Adelaide United, all the way to grassroots. So fantastic supporter. So thanks to Rachel, mate. I've spoken to you about this before. It's a fantastic story. You're a junior. You play all your footy at Central Districts. You get the call up to play your first league game at 16. Do you remember the day? Yeah, I do. I remember it quite vividly, to be honest. I was playing resis all week, and it was Friday night for our captain's run, and I think I rocked up to training, and Roy pulled me aside and said, there's a bit of a question mark over Paul Thomas tonight. If he gets through training, you'll play twos. If he doesn't get through training, you're playing league. So didn't have much time to digest it. Went into the reserves meeting, and about 2 minutes into the meeting, Tomo doesn't sound no good. So straight up I went, and I probably had about 12 hours to mentally prepare for playing my first league game.
Do you think that helped with your preparation, or would you have liked to have known early in the week?
No, I'd say at that stage at 16, I was definitely helped. I used to get quite nervous before footy games, so I reckon the last minute knowing of it probably helped me quite a bit.
Probably helped, mate. In that first game, where'd you line up? Were you on a wing?
I started on the bench. We were playing Eagles. It was actually Anzac Day, so it's a pretty special day to debut, and came on and slipped into a half-forward flank, I reckon. I actually lined up on my home group teacher at school at the time I was playing league for Eagles, so it's a pretty funny story.
No, it's fantastic, mate. And from there, obviously, went to the under-18 championships. You had a few battles with knees. You did ACL as well, but you got to the championships and you end up, really putting your name up in lights, really.
Yeah, it was good to go through that system, and I think I played 3 games in the championships, and then I managed to perform quite well in those games, and it was good that a lot of recruiters were out there at the time to see that.
Well, and that's it. As a 17-year-old at the time, what is it like going to, you're going out to these facilities and you got people there judging you on every little thing you do?
Yeah.
Is it daunting as a 17-year-old?
Absolutely it is, yeah. You get told that recruiters will pick on everything and every little thing, so you sort of are. When you travel interstate, you stay at the same hotels as the recruiters, and by then you see them about, so you know who they are. So you're definitely on your best behaviour, that's for sure.
And mate, you end up going, gets the draft night. A lot of murmurs around, a lot of articles at that stage. Probably you were probably the second best player in the draft. Thought you were going to go pick 2. You just slid out to pick 11 at Carlton. Did you expect to go to Carlton?
It was funny. Carlton were one of the only teams that I guess I didn't think really had any interest. So you go into draft night, you hear a lot of different things. This club says, we'll take you if you're here, we'll take you if you're here. But you take that as a grain of salt. You never know what's going to happen. And when Carlton's pick came around, I really had no idea that I was going to be called out then, but it was definitely a big relief when they called my name out for sure.
Mate, at Carlton, who's the first person that you spoke to after Carlton picked you up?
Who was the first person? So I was up at the draft and the head recruiters, up in the Gold Coast, and the head recruiters are up there. So spoke to all of them, but then got a number of messages from all the boys at Carlton. So it was pretty, as a 17, 18-year-old, it was pretty cool to have, Mark Murphy and Bryce Gibbs and all these message you on your phone. You felt pretty cool at that moment for sure.
And obviously your coach, when you get there as a 17-year-old, you got to front up to Mick Malthouse, who I know just watching him was in his press conferences towards the end was scary enough. What was that like?
Yeah, I probably had a bit of a soft spot for Mick because I was a Collingwood supporter growing up. But you see him in the media and in his press conferences, and I guess the way he's portrayed is quite serious and intimidating person, but you get to meet him and he's the complete opposite. Really, really good people person. I know even lately there's been a bit of bad media about him from past players and all that, but I'm a massive advocate of Mick. I had a really good relationship with him and I got along really well from him and learned a lot from him.
That's fantastic, mate. Didn't take too long to get your first AFL game. How did that come about?
Yeah, we again, it was probably a bit lucky. We were playing Port at Etihad, and I was playing as a small forward in the reserves, and I think Chris Yarran, Jeffy Garlett and Eddie Betts were all out that week with injuries. So kind of the start of the week thought it might be a bit of a sniff here, and come Wednesday, Thursday, Mick let me know that I was going to be playing my first game. So it was a pretty special week.
You got a snag as well and didn't mind it?
Not in that game. Second game.
Game.
I actually came on as a sub in my first game. So.
No, you got it in the second game. Beautiful, mates, as well. Go on to play 40 games at Carlton, and interesting story. I'm a big fan of it, but you just signed a new deal, probably didn't expect to be traded, had the feet up in Bali, and how did the trade actually come about?
Yeah, it was, exactly. I just signed I think the year before I signed a 3-year deal, so I had 2 years left on my contract, and went away to Bali, spoke to my manager before I went away. Nah, nothing to worry about, mate. Enjoy your holiday. And about two days into 8-day trip, I get a message from him, hey mate, can you call me as soon as you wake up? Might be a trade going on. And yes, it was a bit of a surprise to me, and then Adelaide had shown interest, and Carlton thought they could get a good return off of it. So I think in the space of about 24 to 48 hours, I was back on a plane in Adelaide doing a medical when I 100% wasn't expecting it at all. But once the trade did go through, I said the only team I'd ever come back to or play for other than Carlton was Adelaide. Clearly because I had family back here and friends back here, so I was happy with the trade that it went through, and I enjoyed my time at Adelaide.
Yeah, so talk about that. You come to Adelaide, and one thing we've probably spoken about in the media, or to the average person that probably doesn't understand your story, gets spoken about a bit, but the question that on everyone's lips is, did you regret taking that trade to Adelaide?
Yeah, I've been asked that a lot, and
plenty of times.
It has come up a few. But I always say, look, I don't regret my decision. I've learned a lot from my footy journey, and at that time in my second year there, Adelaide played in the grand final, and everyone wants to be the best footballer they can be, and to be that best footballer, I wanted to play in the best team and compete against the best players to play in the best team. So to have that shot and play 4 games that year for him meant that I was able to match it with the best. So it's definitely something that I don't regret, for sure.
No, absolutely, mate. And just to be around a club that is thriving like that, what was that like? Obviously, you're still only, 22 at that stage, so still young in terms of footy, but must have been a massive buzz to be around a club.
Yeah, it was. It was the feeling around the club was fantastic. Not even around the club, just around Adelaide. You'd have supporters who are always really excited to run into you and all that. So it was a great feeling, and it was a really good year, 2017.
Yeah, mate, and obviously got delisted. As part of ways at the end of the year, and then that was 18, and then end of 17, and then decided to just probably have a year of not taking it so seriously, and headed out to Tea Tree Gully with a couple of mates. So what made you head out there?
Yeah, it was probably I just wanted to enjoy my footy again. Probably take all the the past 5 years of professionalism and seriousness out of it, and just really go out there and enjoy footy. And I had some really good schoolmates who played out at Teacher Gully, so I found that was going to be the best fit for me to enjoy footy, and went out there and I had one of the best years of footy that I've played in. So we did end up winning a flag, which was something special. But yeah, I had a great year out there.
Mate, yeah, and, you know, it's fantastic. The boys are they're in a bit of strife this year. The boys, obviously, that happens when your clubs win flags, but you still take an interest in how they're going?
Yeah, absolutely. I follow them pretty closely each week. They've lost quite a few numbers from last year, but yeah, hopefully they'll recruit very well next year and be back up there.
And mate, this year, back out to the Doggies, where it all started. Was there interest to go out to other SANFL clubs, or you always had Doggies in mind?
It was always pretty set that it was going to be Centrals. Growing up, I was a Collingwood supporter, but I was more a Central supporter. They were my main team, so when I was able to play juniors through them and sample through them, that was probably the one club that I really, really had a soft spot for. So there was never really an argument of me going anywhere else. There's always going to be Centrals.
Beautiful, mate. And boys, they're struggling this year. Obviously, Roy Laird, your coach, he's left a massive legacy behind at the Doggies.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see what Roy has done for the footy club. It's been very special, so hopefully we can send him off well in the last few games.
No, and hopefully go well and lead into next year. Mate, thank you for joining me. You got to stick around because you've got to host the rest of the show with me. But ladies and gentlemen, Troy Menzel, ex-Carlton and Crows player from the Central Districts Footy Club, brought to you by Rachel Laurie in North Adelaide. So if you're selling, make sure you go down and have a chat to Rachel Laurie. But stay tuned, got lots more before the bounce. All right, welcome to Before the Bounce. With me tonight, I've got three very special guests. The Filkey family. I've got Grant, Filkey, Bailey and Callum, brought to you by D-Fibs R Us. So make sure you get down, you get a D-Fib. You need those kits in every club. So I'm not going to say the full word, I cannot say it. But boys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Now, Grant Filkey, a household name in South Australian homes for a long period of time, mate. And just tell us a bit. So obviously went to Westies and as a 17-year-old?
16-year-old.
16.
16-year-old, played under 19s the first year. Went through their system. Had a couple of stints, one at Fitzroy in the old days, in 82. Came back, and then 87 at Collingwood, and another stint with the Crows early days in 91 and 92, and finished up at Westies back in 96, so 20 years.
Beautiful, mate. And we're going to dive deeper into that. We've got Grant for on the couch as well, so we've got plenty to talk about. And Rocky Butterworth, who has done the notes, he's all over it with everything. But lads, fantastic. And Grant, for you as a father as well, must be fantastic to have the boys playing some really good footy. Obviously, Cal with the A's at South Gawler here, and Bailey down at West Adelaide as well. For you as a father, it must be great to see the two boys playing the game that you loved.
I think you meet a lot of great people in football. It's a good environment to be in. My expectations on the boys were never anything other than enjoy yourself. A lot of fathers play their sons through their own experience and their own expectations. These guys enjoy their footy. They've made a lot of good mates out of it so far, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, and Bailey, obviously down at following in the old man's footsteps. Yep. So it must be pretty special for you to go down to West Adelaide and give it a crack.
Yeah, it's not bad. I played all my juniors. I played some of my juniors down at Elizabeth, and then come over to Gawler South. Callum got me down there and played the 3 years at the 17s. And I never thought of playing that type of football. But at the end of, I had an okay year last year, and I got a call from a fella from Westies called Craig Bennetts, who's also a past player, and he got me down there at the start of their pre-season, and it's just gone from there.
And mate, the under-18s at Westies, they're going all right at the moment, and your own form, averaging about 14 a game as well yourself, you're going all right.
Yeah, it's okay. They struggled a bit last year from what I've been told. They only won 4 or 5 games, but this year we're sitting good second. We've got a good culture, a good bunch of boys down there. The coaching group's excellent. And hopefully when we go into finals, we can finish it off.
So it's really been the Filkey factor down at Westies this year.
Nah, not quite.
And Cal, obviously playing some really good. I've watched you a couple of times, and we need to get you a bigger pair of shorts. But playing some really good footy at South Gawler this year, mate.
Yeah, loving it down there. I've sort of had a bit of a breakout year. I was playing twos for a couple of years there, just in the first year of seniors, getting used to it. But no, loving A grade at the moment.
And
Loving
boys, for you lads, obviously the old man's legacy, SANFL footy. When playing SANFL footy when SANFL footy was
what it was,
massive. It's here in SA. How have you gone growing up with that and looking to follow that on?
Throughout school, a lot of people had an expectation when playing football. Coaches and stuff like that had an expectation on you. But I think a lot of the boys, instead of turning that into an expectation, just had a joke and a laugh with you throughout. As you're playing, like just joking about it and stuff like that. But it's been all right, yeah. Other than that,
Cal, you been going on?
well, I thought would have got a little bit more sledged about it, playing the level that we are. But everyone else is very good about it and love it, and they actually find it a lot cooler than sledging about it, which is good.
And one thing I want to ask, we had the Wonky boys on a couple of weeks ago, talked about some of the great backyard battles that they used to have. You boys, no doubt, would have got that competitive streak in you. Have you had any real big dust-ups over some footy or some cricket?
There's been fights, but nothing... I do remember one time where there was a pickaxe thrown between the two of us, but no, nothing too bad.
he did strap me in a pram one day. I was about 6 years old. We used to live up in One Tree Hill, and we had about a 10-stair slope, and he pushed me right down in the pram with a helmet on. It was a little test dummy, but yeah, nothing too serious.
You all go through those situations. I could tell you some story, and that's with my sister as well. So, no, mate. And South at the moment, Cal, they're in the 5 now.
Yeah.
But probably aren't playing the best footy that you'd like to play.
No, it's a bit cliche, but we do play in patches. We do play about 3/4 of a good game per week. And then we have 5 or 10 minutes where we lose 4 or 5 goals, and then that's when the heads drop, and then that's when teams roll you. So
and obviously Grant yourself as well, heavily involved at South Gawler now. Or how'd you get out to South?
Through my son, through Callum. Callum went to Trinity, of course. There's a big tie-up between Trinity School and Gawler South.
Yep.
Our relationship we've built on now, it's become really good and successful. So got invited to be assistant coach at the under-17s for the last couple of years, and really enjoyed it. I think you got to know what you can and what you can't do in life. I can't coach, I know that, but I love to get involved and love to be the assistant and get around it. We have also got a daughter, I might add, in the family, young Abby, and she's a very good netballer. I think as a kid, and I look at the boys and I look at who's got the best eye hand coordination, and Abby, who's playing elite netball at the moment, and she's only, what is she, guys? 14.
ask that.
Sorry, Abby.
Text mum.
She's got elite eye hand coordination. I think she'll go as far as she wants to go in her sport.
She's got the boys covered, basically.
Easily.
And Bales Westies, what's your favourite position down there, mate?
Well, they played me all around the place this year. They started me on the wing, then they chucked me down back flank, back pocket, forward flank, forward pocket, running into the centre. But they got me on the forward flank at the moment, which is good. The players around, I find that when players realise what your strengths are, they can start using you towards your strength, like your run and your carry and stuff like that, which is good. As soon as you build that bond with the boys down there, or any club, it pays off well, yeah.
And Cal, I've got to touch on these shorts. If you haven't seen them, they'll be on our live stream. We've got South Gawler this weekend.
Oh, do you?
So look at 22. No, what number are you?
Yeah, 22. Yeah.
22. It's tucked in to a pair of shorts that are like skins. You can see them moving. What's the go with them?
They're 14s at the moment.
So you're wearing
Size
kids'
14s.
shorts?
Yeah, boy shorts.
You can see what religion he is. That's how tight they are.
No, I've always thought, why do cyclists wear such tight clothing?
Yeah.
It's less weight and aerodynamic. So I think if I wear the tight shorts, I can run faster, surely. That's the thought behind it.
Well, mate, go for it. You do what makes you happy, mate. But Grant obviously grew up in the Riverland.
Yep.
When did you come? What age did you come down and decide to move into more Adelaide?
16.
So at that age, you brought the family. Well, you didn't have the family. You come down.
Come down by myself. Yep. At 16, huge move. Huge move even these days, let alone those days when travelling was was a big thing. You know, mum and dad didn't come down that often, and found it really difficult the first couple of years with homesickness and so forth.
Yeah.
But now we very rarely go back. But when I do go back to the Riverland, still passionate about the Riverland, got some really good mates up there, and always know where the grassroots come from. It's a fantastic place, the Riverland.
So you come down to host family? You have?
Eventually, yes.
Eventually, yeah. There you go. No, it's no, fantastic. Riverland, great spot as well. But right, how do you pick on a Saturday? Obviously, boys most of the time are playing at the same time. How do you pick who you go and watch?
We work that around. I try and see every other week. See Callum one week, then see Bailey the opposite week. So I relieve my duties as under 17 coach one week. It's really worked in really well this year because Gawler South have had buys, West have had buys. But throw into the other mix, my daughter, who doesn't play for Gawler South, she plays for Williamstown. So I've got to try and go and see her as well. So Saturday morning normally starts at 8 o'clock and we don't get home till 5, 6 o'clock of an evening.
So it's a big day. I'll tell you what, I wish my parents shared it around. They just go and watch my sister because she's better. But no, it's fantastic, boys. Grant, you're going to hang around. We're going to have a bit more of a chat to you, lads. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate.
Looking forward to seeing the tight shorts on the weekend. 22 will be tucked in.
Absolutely.
And Bales, good luck all the rest of the
Thanks,
year
mate.
with
Cheers.
West Adelaide, mate, and go from there. Thanks to D-Fibs R Us as well for sponsoring that. Welcome to another On the Couch here. Ando's gone. It's been brilliant. I've been able to take over 2 of his segments tonight. So hope you're enjoying China, Ando, and I'm sure you'll be back next week. But thanks to my foot doctor as well for supporting this and sponsoring us as well. So happy athlete, happy feet, happy athlete as well. So make sure you get down and see them this time of year with all your niggles. We got Grant, the great man, Grant Filkey again. Grant, thanks for joining us, mate.
Pleasure.
Mate, born up in Loxton and didn't take too long. I got told a story by Rocky Butterworth, who you know quite well. He told me that you got in an under 15s game out of a possible 45 votes. You said you got 45, but you actually got 42, which is still a massive effort.
That was the medal for the year. You had 15 games and possible 45, 42, but I don't think.
So what happened? What happened in the 15th?
Oh yeah, well, yeah,
Bit stiff.
bit stiff.
Yeah, and a hammy. Mate, not long after that, 16 years old, from the Riverland, you get identified to come down to Westies and given a crack down there. So how'd you go with that at 16 years old?
It was very difficult. What actually happened, we played in those years Sapsaza. You know, Sapsaza run primary school, so I'd played in 2 of the state Sapsaza sides. So I'd gone through the system pretty well. West Adelaide followed me from there. And then I was in 4th year at high school, not really enjoying it. And Hallett Shuard, great Riverland bloke who was involved with West Adelaide, come down and said, "You're looking for a carpentry apprenticeship?" I said, "Yep." Within a week, he'd got one for me, and I was in Adelaide at 16, living with someone and playing football at under 17 level with West Adelaide Footy Club.
Yeah. So you made your league debut at 17.
That year, I played under 16s, played reserves as a 16-year-old. And then went back and played under 19s, and we won a grand final that year.
Okay.
In under 19s, and then the following year played league footy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Rock's done his homework well.
Best first year player in your best young player first year at your club.
Sam Suckling, we had the best first year players. So
you found the move pretty well, and you settled in quite well then.
Westies weren't a great side at that time either. I think we finished 8th or 9th, so we were no Port Adelaide, Glenelg, or anything like that. We had some great, actually, in that era, before Centrals had that wonderful era a little later, we had some wonderful tussles with Central Districts Footy Club. But no, we were no world beaters at that stage, don't worry about that.
And Grant obviously spent 19 years playing footy at the highest level.
Yeah.
Had a couple of cracks at, you've got a few AFL games in there as well with that as well. So where'd you head to from Westies?
In '82, Fitzroy Footy Club invited me over to the whole pre-season with Robert Walls and the boys. That they had a really good side in '82. They played finals in that year. I think they even got to the prelim finals. They should have nearly won the grand final, but did a pre-season there, and that really was the catalyst, I think, for knowing what you've got to do and how much time and effort you've got to put in to really play at that elite level. Come back in '83 and we won the premiership in '83. Then played in '84, won the medal in '85. played some of '86, but had pubis that year. Had an operation, went to Collingwood in '87.
So you played under some pretty good coaches, Neil Curley and Johnny Cahill, in your time. Some very famous football names. How did you find them coming through?
I reckon they're all great. I played under Lee Matthews in '87. Completely different cat, Lee. Like he coached like he played. There was no
hesitation.
No hesitation. I don't know. I don't think Lee was a huge rat for me because I didn't have a great year, but I really appreciated the way. I wish I could have gone to him instead of at 18 instead of 25, and I think I would have ended up being a much better footballer.
Absolutely,
Mate.
absolutely.
And talk about getting to Collingwood. So how many games did you end up playing at Collingwood?
Played the 1 year, had a 3-year contract. That's the other good thing about Collingwood. Had a 3-year contract. Played 18, I think, out of the 20. My brother got killed in a car accident mid-season, which really affected. We had a family of six in our family, close family. Really affected the whole family. Affected me greatly. And so at the end of the season, I come back to the farm and helped Dad. And then I went to Collingwood. I said, I'm just not in the right mind to go back. And I said, Grant, cancel the 2 years. You go back and just do what you have to do. Probably regret they didn't push me to stay, but they were fantastic. Cancelled the last 2 years. I came back to Westies in 87, 88, 89, and of course the Crows formed in 90, and I was one of the first 50 of those that was the initial training squad of the Crows.
So coming in, the Crows, new team, was there a bit of buzz around the players at that stage with it being all new?
It was really a stateside. I mean, it was really a stateside. We all knew each other. There wasn't huge expectations. I mean, the crowds were just phenomenal. Some of the pre-season against Essendon, we had 45. They packed. We couldn't get to the ground. And those first couple of years, there wasn't huge. We had some pretty good years, but there wasn't huge expectations. Of course, that all changed when Blindy came and those type of things, and it became really competitive down there. But the first years, we didn't have a training. We didn't have a training room. We had a gym set up in the toilet and so forth. So it was humble beginnings.
You've played in Premiership with West, McGarry Medal, VFL with Collingwood, AFL with Crows, Captain of West, Sanford Hall of Fame. What stands out for you in that? A lot of big awards there, a lot of big achievement. What's the one that stands out for you?
To be honest, in my sporting career, there's one, and it's nothing to do with any of that. As a 16-year-old, as a 12-year-old, I used to go to the Loxton Oval and watch all my heroes play cricket. Billy Potts are all my heroes, and so as a 15-year-old, I was given the opportunity to play A-grade cricket. And I played with these guys, and we won a premiership when I was 15, opening the bowler, and I was playing with all my heroes, and that is still my greatest memory. I enjoyed playing cricket more so than football, where I certainly wasn't as good as in that area. But when I think back, and I spoke at the Riverland not so long ago, because you were so impressionable as a 15-year-old. For my sporting career, that was my greatest moment as a 15-year-old, to win a premiership and to play with all 12 of my heroes.
Yeah.
Football terms, there was many great memories. I think you always remember the team aspects more so than the personal aspects, because they're longer lasting, you can enjoy them. And so I think any premiership you play, no matter what level, whether it be Loxton, SNFL, AFL, those are the most lasting memories of your life.
Absolutely,
so that
agree.
It's just fantastic.
For sure.
Mate,
for sure.
Obviously SNFL Hall of Fame, touched on some of those, but SNFL Hall of Fame, that must have been a fantastic night to get inducted.
Oh, yeah. I think the good thing I spoke the other week, the good thing about retirement is that people always remember your great games upon retirement. They don't remember the ordinary games, and I had some ordinary games, there's no doubt about it. But upon retirement, people always look at your good games. I mean, and I know personally where I was in the pecking order. I knew I was never as good as the McIntoshes and the Aishas and those type of players, but I always knew if I was super fit and gave my best, I could match them for short periods of time. And so to be put in that Hall of Fame and to be standing or sitting next to these great players you admired was just, for my person, was just fantastic achievement.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, you've played with obviously hundreds of fantastic footballers. Across your time, who's probably some that stand out, not necessarily as the best footballers, but some of the biggest characters that you've come across that have, I guess, had an impact on you?
As a young boy, I played against a bloke called Duckworth. He won a McGarry Medal at Centrals. He was unstoppable. He was unbeatable. Just it was an already. He was 6'6" and ran even time, just crashed through packs. I think he went back to WA at that particular time. He had a huge impact on SA football. But during my time, I really looked up to the Gary McIntoshes and the Michael Ashes. They were sensational players. Those Johnny Plattons, those players that played in the SNFL and then become great players in the AFL. I think you can do nothing but admire those type of players.
Absolutely.
Mate, 364 games for West Adelaide. Is there one that stands out to you more than the others?
I think the Premiership. I think the first game you play, probably the first game, the Premiership, and your last game, because it's so sad in so many ways. It's the end of your whole career and so forth. But as I say, I think the Premiership one stands out more so than ever because it's a team situation. And of course, your first game and your last games are very special to you as an individual as well.
Something off footy, you've got your own real estate business. You've actually just sold and helped my brother buy a house not too long ago. You're just telling me. So how is that tracking? How's that change of lifestyle for you?
During football, I had my own sports store, so I was in the sales industry. And when we sold that, I've been in real estate for the last 20 years. I think you're in the sales industry. You're there to help people. I love it. My own son's coming to the business now. I don't own the business. I just work in the business. I won't name it because I know you've got sponsors.
Go for it, mate. You do what you got to do. You name it.
I work at First National Gawler, but I know you've got Ray White. Yes, Ray White sponsors yours, and I work for Ray White, and they're a great company. They're a great company as well. But I'm at First National Gawler. My son's now involved in it. We've made many friends, and including sold Adam's home as your brother. So I've loved it. It's been a fantastic experience.
And the slogan as well, mate. It's one that's always stuck with me as a kid when it was on the fridge magnet in our house in Gawler. Still kicking goals, mate.
A few of the old people that knew me knew I didn't kick too many, so they have a bit of a chuckle about it as well.
Mate, and Rocky's just slipped in that he reckons that you got rid of the sports store because you had enough of selling black sneakers.
Yeah, that's another story. Another story for another time.
Mate, it's fantastic to have you on tonight, Grant. We're going to have you on in a month or so as well with a few of the old teammates by sounds to tell a few stories there. But mate, absolute champion of the game. Fantastic for coming on tonight, and we really appreciate it, mate.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Thank you. Make sure you stay tuned and jump onto our Facebook page as well, Piranha Media, to watch all our Before the Bounce content as well. Don't forget, find us on Facebook at the South Australian Footballer, Piranha Media. You can find us at our YouTube channel as well, the SA Footballer TV, for all content around South Australian football, all our magazines, and especially Before the Bounce each week. With over 155,000 subscribers, you can't go wrong with the South Australian Football and Piranha Media.